to Deep Sleep Stories. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. If these stories help you relax or fall asleep, a short review, comment, or sharing the podcast with someone who might benefit is a simple and meaningful way to support the show so that we may continue to offer it for free. Now, take a slow, gentle breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. This is your gentle invitation to relax and unwind, letting the warmth of a soothing tale carry you toward rest. Take a slow, deep breath, pausing a moment before releasing it. Notice how your body feels heavier, your mind quieter. As you settle in, let the soft glow of this story envelop you in calm. You are invited to float through a tranquil autumn setting where peaceful rivers in northern Idaho shimmer under golden leaves, guiding you gently toward a comforting place of slumber. Allow your eyes to close or your gaze to soften. Breathe deeply once more, inhaling serenity and exhaling tension. With each breath, you can feel your shoulders ease, your neck loosen, and your thoughts drift. You may hear a faint rustle of leaves in your imagination and the hush of water gliding along. Let go of the day's demands and concerns, allowing them to slip away in this moment of stillness. In the slow rhythm of your breathing, notice a lightness spreading throughout your limbs. With every gentle inhale, you draw in contentment, and with every soothing exhale, you send out any stress that may linger. There is nothing you need to solve right now, nothing to figure out. Simply follow your breath. Feel the support beneath you, and know that it is safe to enter the story that awaits. As you release one more deep breath, let the hush of your surroundings carry you forward. The narrative will transition smoothly now. From here, feel yourself drifting toward a calm realm of amber reflections and placid waters. The story begins softly and unhurried, ready to cradle you in an autumn dreamscape. In the mellow heart of an Idaho autumn, a quiet hush stretched across the land. Honey-hued leaves clung to tall trees, while the scattered ones formed rustling carpets that caught rays of afternoon sun. Slender birches with bark as white as gentle moonlight stood alongside proud pines and friendly maples. When breezes drifted through the branches, the leaves made a whispery sound as they danced over winding trails. A wide river, polished like a mirror, glided peacefully through this secluded place. Lush banks framed the shining water, their grasses turned golden with the season's soft aging. Sunbeams touched the river's surface, and shimmering reflections of deep amber played upon the gentle current. Every so often, a single leaf would free itself from a branch overhead, floating down to rest on the slow-moving water. On a comfortably worn dirt trail nearby, the traveler made their way toward the river's edge. The path was composed of fine soil, dotted with small pebbles, and lined with ferns, drooping under the weight of autumn dew. Overhead, a quiet tapestry of color filled the sky with bursts of russet, yellow, and the last echoes of summer green. The traveler breathed in the scent of pine needles and damp earth, letting that cool, crisp air settled deep into the lungs. Though the traveler walked alone, there was a sense of welcome in the atmosphere, as if the forest itself noticed every soft footstep. Branches bowed politely, and the hush of leaves suggested that this place had all the time in the world. It was a peaceful day, the kind when nature's gentle symphony of birds and leaves and water's hush replaced the need for words. The traveler observed the reflections in the water, shimmering arcs of orange and gold, glimmers that teased the eye with their fragile beauty. A canoe, modest and weathered from years of use, waited at the riverbank. The wood was smooth with age, polished by countless hands that had steered it through calm waters. Warm sunlight glinted off its simple paddles. The traveler's footsteps grew lighter as they approached, mindful of the delicate hush that seemed to surround the canoe. Without haste, they placed a cautious hand on its edge, feeling the gentle sway of the river beneath. The water lapped against the side with a rhythmic murmur, as though offering a quiet greeting. Sliding into the canoe, the traveler allowed the boat to drift a moment before dipping a paddle in. A faint swirl of water fanned out, mingling with floating leaves. The boat glided gently away from the bank, following the slow pull of the current. Overhead, a canopy of trees extended, their leaves shimmering with midday sunlight, creating enchanting patterns on the water's surface. With each measured stroke, the canoe slid further from the forest's edge and deeper into the heart of the river. This winding stretch of northern Idaho was a sanctuary of rustling grasses and subdued wildlife calls. The gentle push and pull of the paddle became a lullaby, a comforting repetition. Amber reflections danced beneath the canoe, illuminating the calm interior with flickers of warm light. As the traveler continued downstream, wide rocks jutted out from the shoreline. Tiny crevices hosted small clusters of moss, their texture soft and inviting. A short distance beyond, slender reeds dipped toward the water's surface as though straining to glimpse their own reflections. Occasionally, a fish leapt, a quick splash in the hush, only to vanish again in the hidden depths. In the distance, the sound of a waterfall's quiet voice drifted through the crisp air. Not so much a roar as a gentle tumble, like distant static, wrapping the scene in a cozy hush. Flocks of migrating birds passed overhead, their formation just a speck against the vast autumn sky. The traveler paused, paddling for a moment, letting the canoe glide of its own accord. The water's movement was unhurried, carrying the vessel like a silent cradle along gentle currents. Farther along, the river's banks gave way to broader gravel bars, where smooth, flat stones reflected the sunshine. A pair of moose lingered there, knee-deep in the calm shallows. Their dark coats glistened with droplets of water, and they dipped their broad snouts to drink. When they raised their heads, water trickled from their muzzles. Unstartled, they observed the canoes passing with mild curiosity. Their soft eyes conveyed a sense of trust as if they recognized the peaceful nature of the traveler's visit. In the canopy above, the branches formed a gilded arch. When sunlight shifted, the leaves glowed translucent, their veins etched in shimmering gold. The river meandered onward, guiding the traveler with a gentle tug as the world beyond the banks seemed to dissolve into softer shapes and quiet spaces. The subtle hush of the water blended with the steady breath of the forests, creating an unspoken lullaby. Every so often the traveler glimpsed a faint path through the trees, perhaps a trail used by deer or an overgrown old logging road. Within those shadowed corridors, the forest floor was blanketed in fallen leaves. Even the air there seemed still, holding the silent secrets of changing seasons. But the traveler felt no pull to stray from the river's course. The canoe drifted, sure and serene, guided by currents old as the land itself. In the deeper stretch, the water widened. The banks receded, allowing the forest a more distant vantage, and the traveler felt a heightened sense of openness. Clouds, white and soft, reflected on the expansive surface. It was like drifting through two worlds, one above, one below, both peaceful and harmonious. The hush held a promise of timelessness, as though urging any troubles to rest in quiet forgetfulness. A small island rose from the center of the river, its pebbled shore strewn with driftwood. Willows reached out with delicate branches, shading the water's edge. The traveler guided the canoe toward this refuge, drawn by the calm it exuded. Upon reaching the island, the boat slid into shallow water. Stepping out, feet sank gently into fine, cool sand laced with smooth stones. The wind sighed through the willows, their slender limbs swaying in a graceful dance. There, on that little island, sunlight poured through parted leaves, creating shifting patches of warmth. The traveler found a level patch of sand and settled down, letting the gentle breeze brush across the skin. An almost invisible touch. The river's melody of quiet currents lulled the mind to a softer place. Even the occasional caw of a crow seemed gentler here, its call echoing across the amber-lit river. Minutes passed with the slowness that only quiet nature can grant. The traveler took a moment to reflect on the vibrant tapestry of autumn. Gold and orange leaves formed a mosaic on the shimmering water. A faint scent of wood smoke drifted from some distant camp, adding to the cozy impression. Time felt fluid, as if the river itself paused, savoring the hush of the afternoon. Eventually the traveler rose and slipped back into the canoe, pushing off from the island's edge. A soft swirl of water welcomed the vessel back into the current. Below the surface, small fish darted in flurries of silver and bronze. Now and then, a glint would catch the eye, perhaps the sun glancing off a stone or a fleeting swirl in the water. The traveler dipped the paddle in rhythm, attuned to the peaceful pulse of the river. Not far downstream, the slow drifting course led to a narrower passage where tall evergreens towered on either side, their resinous fragrance mingling with the crisp scent of autumn leaves filled the air. soft green needles blanketed the ground near the water's edge, muffling the traveler's quiet presence. Here, the sunlight filtering through the conifer branches was softer, muted to a gentle glow. The canoe glided through this corridor of greenery. There was something comforting in the shape of these pines, which had stood vigil for countless seasons. Each tree possessed a silent wisdom that seemed to bless anyone who ventured this far. The traveler's paddle moved slowly, gently parting the mirror of the river. Leaves floating in the stillness drifted aside, respectful of the serene passage. Rounding a gentle bend, the scene opened to a sheltered cove, protected from the main current. In its calm waters, every detail of the forest reflected as perfectly as in a polished mirror. Orange and gold leaves drifting overhead had their doppelgangers below, creating a dreamy world of dancing shapes and colors. Even a slight breeze made those reflections shiver and ripple, as though the boundary between water and sky were a gentle illusion. Drawn by the cove's embrace, the traveler steered the canoe into it, letting the boat come to rest against a nest of reeds. The stillness here was so pure that only a careful listener could detect the faint swirl of water around submerged logs or the quiet hum of a dragonfly. Sunlight, diffused through the canopy, cast intricate patterns on the traveler's lap, patterns that swayed gently in time with the subtle currents and the drifting breath of the wind. A sense of deep tranquility filled that pocket of nature. One might imagine the forest watchers, small critters hidden behind trunks or perched in branches, peeking out to note this calm visitor. Yet no tension disturbed the peace. Bird song gentle as a lullaby fluttered in from the deeper woods, while the broad leaves of water lilies bobbed on the cove's surface. Beneath them, fish occasionally flicked their fins, sending soft ripples outward. After a time in the cove, the traveler set the canoe back into the main current, continuing further downstream. The afternoon shadows had grown longer, and the sunlight carried a softer golden hue, signaling that evening was not far off. The river itself seemed to prepare for twilight, its surface reflecting the mellow, slanting light. The traveler followed the bend to where the forest receded, revealing a broad horizon of rolling hills, dotted with the season's final wildflowers. Ahead was a wide bend where the water slowed, forming a perfect vantage to watch the autumn sun dip lower. Soft, grassy banks provided an ideal resting spot. The traveler ran the canoe gently ashore, stepping out onto the cushion of dried grasses. There, among low shrubs, turning shades of burgundy and gold, the traveler made a small nest to sit, facing the slowly setting sun. From this vantage, the entire river valley stretched out, framed by gentle ridges. As the sun descended, the sky shifted to pink, peach, and lavender, merging into the pale blue overhead. Each color played across the water's surface in fluid strokes, merging with the reflections of fiery orange leaves. The hush was the kind that only appears late in the day, when birds settle in for the night and the rustle of leaves becomes softer. Sitting in the deepening quiet, the traveler felt a sense of gratitude wash over them. Gratitude for the peaceful day, for the mild air that carried the earthy scent of pine, for the calm expanse of water that had carried the canoe so faithfully. There was a gentle acceptance in that moment, a knowing that nature asked little more than simple presence. With each heartbeat, the traveler sank deeper into that tranquil awareness. Evening drifted closer, shadows lengthened across the river, the autumn colors still vivid but softened by the dusk. A cozy chill in the breeze hinted at the night to come, so the traveler rose, returning to the canoe for one final gentle journey down the glowing river. Starlings swooped low across the water in fluid formations, their wings catching the last flares of daylight. The canoe rocked gently, and the traveler steered toward a final resting place downstream, a small inlet near a stand of aspens. Their pale trunks formed a subdued grove, and the ground beneath them lay thick with fallen leaves. Light from the lowering sun filtered through those fluttering golden leaves, casting a warm glow that welcomed the traveler to land. Pulling the canoe onto the shore, the traveler took a moment to admire the silent lull of twilight. Within that grove, the air felt still, as if the trees themselves held their breath. One or two leaves drifted down, their faint rustle barely audible. Night seemed to arrive softly here, weaving itself into the spaces between branches and gently rolling across the forest floor. A sense of calm acceptance lingered, as though the place had long understood the cycle of day turning into night. The traveler arranged a soft blanket on a mossy patch near the base of an aspen. Overhead, the sky was slowly unveiling stars, one at a time. Each emerged, shimmering faintly at first, then glowing more confidently in the deepening dusk. Crickets began their evening chorus, a gentle chirping that harmonized with the faint lapping of water on the nearby shore. In the distance, an owl called, its voice low and soothing. The sound echoed through the quiet stands of trees, as though inviting any listening soul to share the peace of the coming night. The air was crisp now, carrying a slight chill that whispered of winter's eventual approach. Yet in this moment, autumn's gentle presence was enough to wrap the traveler in a comforting lull. A small campfire was kindled from gathered twigs and fallen branches. Its gentle flames cast dancing shadows across the leaves. Wisps of smoke curled upward, carrying the sweet aroma of burning wood. Seated upon a soft blanket, the traveler watched embers flicker and spark, feeling their gentle warmth. The nearby river flowed on, aglow with traces of moonlight glinting off its ripples. It was a time of still reflection. As night deepened, the traveler allowed day's thoughts and concerns to dissolve in the hush. The clouds overhead had mostly drifted away, revealing a sky brimming with sparkling constellations. In the presence of these stars, shimmering and silent, one could sense the vastness of the night. time slowed to a tranquil rhythm like a lullaby orchestrated by the soft hum of the forest and the hush of the water. Gradually, fatigue settled in, not heavily, but like a gentle wave inviting rest. The traveler closed their eyes now and then, listening to the quiet dance of flames, the distant call of nocturnal creatures, and the soothing flow of the river. It was as if the forest itself was whispering, encouraging a peaceful surrender to sleep. Autumn's gold had gracefully transformed into the silver blue of night, each color shift a reminder of nature's constant, gentle unfolding. A sense of safety enveloped this place. The delicate canopy of aspen leaves, the lull of the flowing river, and the distant starlight all converged to cradle the traveler's spirit. Breathing grew deeper, aligned with the low pulse of the night. The forest, the water, the land, they all formed a soft cocoon of solace, welcoming the traveler to drift into slumber's embrace. In that restful hush, the mind drifted from one gentle image to another, drifting leaves, shimmering waters, a canoe sliding peacefully among reflections. The day's gentle journey through amber rivers had led here to this quiet moment where all was calm. Even the soft crackle of the fire was a lullaby, urging heavier eyelids and a warm, drifting mind. The traveler, tucked beneath a soft blanket, leaned back against the smooth trunk of an aspen. The night air carried only the slightest hint of chill, just enough to make the blanket feel extra comforting. Stars stretched in every direction above, turning slowly in their ancient patterns. A hush fell over the campsite, the kind that signaled day's end. Everything was at peace. High above, the moon emerged, round and radiant, casting a gentle glow over the water. The traveler lifted a weary gaze to admire how the moonlight touched the river's surface, turning it into a ribbon of shimmering silver. In the hush, it was easy to imagine the faint lullaby of the water, a quiet presence that required no words. The mild night breeze touched the golden leaves, stirring them in soft, rustling motions. As the campfire's flame died down to glowing embers, the traveler shifted slightly, letting muscles relax, letting breath flow slow and steady. Each inhale drew in the forest's calm. Each exhale released tension into the gentle darkness. The final glowing coals cast a faint flicker across the traveler's features, creating a peaceful interplay of light and shadow on closed eyelids. Where the shadows grew deepest among the trees, small creatures rustled softly, going about their quiet, nocturnal routines. None of them disturbed the traveler who had found a pocket of perfect stillness. Even the owl's gentle hoots seemed to fade into the distance, replaced by the slow, rhythmic lull of the river beyond. The crisp air carried with it the last, mild whispers of wind, as though nature herself was winding down. In that slow hush, the traveler began to drift further, lulled by the embrace of the land. Nighttime had fully arrived, gathering the forest into its gentle darkness. Only the moonlight and the slight remnants of ember glow provided hints of shape in the gloom. The traveler's breathing was calm and steady, matching the measured pace of the gently flowing water. As consciousness ebbed, the traveler welcomed the deep rest that unfurled in the quiet corners of the mind. Time no longer held meaning. The events of the day felt like a soft, comforting recollection, woven into the peaceful tapestry of evening. The forest and the river, guardians of that night, stood watch with kind vigilance, ensuring that nothing would disturb the traveler's reprieve. The hush pressed in, a gentle, comforting weight, and each moment stretched into eternity. In that space of deepening relaxation, the traveler's pulse slowed, merging with the lull of the water, the hush of the leaves, and the gentle hush of the star-strewn sky. Even the subtle hum of nighttime insects became a soft blanket of sound, soothing and harmonious. Rest now came naturally and sweetly. The traveler's final waking thought was simply a faint smile, an acknowledgement of the peace discovered on the amber rivers under an autumn sky. Then the mind dissolved into the comforting expanse of sleep, carried by the memory of sunlit reflections and hushes of drifting leaves. All was quiet, all was still. Let each breath soften and slow. The calm of the river remains, gently echoing in the quiet of your own heartbeat. Peaceful images of golden banks and mirrored waters float in your mind, each one a lullaby. Inhale tenderly, drawing in tranquility. Exhale slowly, letting go of any lingering thoughts. Now feel every muscle grow slack, as if the warmth of a gentle campfire wraps around you. The hush of night invites your eyes to close. Let the sweet memory of autumn, leaves, and placid water rock you into stillness. There is nothing to do, nothing to think about. Only the soft embrace of rest. The scene fades into soothing darkness. The hum of the forest, the hush of the river, all blend into a single gentle murmur. You are safe, cradled by the soft glow of a night sky. Thoughts drift like leaves on water. Any tension that once lingered is carried away by the gentle current of slumber. Surrender to the peaceful hush. Let every care melt into the mellow flow of the river in your memory. As you lie in perfect ease, your breathing becomes the soft ripple of water under the stars. Feel that serene energy guiding you deeper and deeper into rest. Softly, you drift. The day's journey is complete. The stillness of night gathers around, wrapping you in kind darkness. You may sense the warmth of the autumn colors lingering behind your closed eyes. Let that glow lull you, rocking gently on the surface of your own calm awareness. Every gentle inhale glistens with the memory of amber reflections. Every exhale releases you further into a sweet, untroubled sleep. Drifting lightly, you slip into the soft realms of dream. The hush of the waters and the whisper of leaves fade into a background lull, easing you onward. Feel your body relax in this perfect peace. Quietly, the forest stands watch. The river flows, carrying away all concerns. Your breath is steady, your heartbeat slow. Autumn's gentle presence hovers around you, but grows softer and quieter in your mind, like a lullaby fading into distance. Now allow yourself to rest. Let your consciousness dim. Soft golden embers glow behind closed lids, inviting deeper slumber. You are safe here, at ease. Let go of the last traces of awareness. Breathe gently, sink deeper, and drift into a calming dream of flowing waters. Good night, dear traveler. May soft breezes and river lullabies guide your rest. Sleep well under the warm memory of northern Idaho's autumn glow. Let the hush cradle you tenderly and kindly until you wake refreshed and renewed. Until then, be at peace and sleep.